right, so this big guy here. So if you saw the videos on the channel just before, the one previous to this one is the overview and the unboxing of the Unlimited Engineering and Loaded partnership for the Race Complete kit. You can see all the details and detailed shots of every part in there. So there should be a little thing up there to allow you to view the video. This is my review, so I'm going to go over quickly the specs and then my experience with this board. All right, so since I have a crappy memory, I'll just read it from my phone. This race kit has a top speed of 37 to 42 kilometers per hour, a range of 11 to 21 kilometers. The kit itself, without the board, is only 4 kilograms. This is hard to tell because you're not really used to having the batteries and the motors separately. So if you have the whole thing with the Tesseract board like I have right now, that's 7.8 kilograms. It's supposed to go uphill 20% hill quite easily. The wheels are orangutan Kaguama's 85 millimeters. They have custom orangutan bushings also. Even the PU on the hub motors is made by orangutan. They call it the orangutan Happythane 80A. So once again, quite smooth for this ride. Batteries are each 90 watts per hour. So if you have one, it's 90 watts. If you have two, it's 180. They can be removed, so they are airline safe. You can bring them with you in the cabin. The trucks are Paris V3 180 millimeters 50-degree trucks. And that's about it. If you want to see more close-up shots and everything, my previous video has everything you need. So in terms of speed, I'm a heavy guy, 115 kilograms, 6 foot tall, and I like to ride fast. So I tried to get the best speed I could get with this board. I was mostly riding with the Pro mode on and not the custom one. So I was able to get a max speed of 29 kilometers per hour. This is because they have recently pushed an update to fix some issues, which I'm not sure what they are, but there were some issues. I got the update. For me, I had no problems before and after. The only difference is that the top speed is now limited. Instead of being able to slide the toggle all the way to 50 kilometers per hour, you can now, it only stops at 37. Apart from the speed, one thing that people usually say is hub motors are crap because they're not powerful enough. They cannot go as fast as belt motors. Well, this time they have 1,680 watts of power, and this thing really is powerful. There is some battery sag when you get to the last 20%, 30% of the battery. You feel that you cannot go as fast as the first 30%, for example, but it's less dramatic than, let's say, the X-Way, where after the first 20% of the battery, you do feel some sagging. In this case, you can have a good speed up to the last 30%, I would say. Acceleration is incredible. Given that this is a hub motor, it's very impressive that you can go as fast as quickly on this board. If I compare this to, let's say, the Mini X from Boosted, I feel that this one is actually faster. I can get my top speed a lot faster, and I can go a lot faster as the top speed. So the big difference from the Boosted Mini X, for example, or the Boosted V2, which I rode a couple years ago, is that this one, even though it's hub motors, you can get much faster than the Boosted Mini X. And you can also reach your top speed a lot quicker. This is impressive for a hub motor skateboard, and these guys from Unlimited Engineering, they really did pack a punch in that skateboard. So in terms of range, they advertise 11 to 21 kilometers. If I put the board in the custom mode and I raise all of the sliders to the maximum value that they can give, I'm able to get about 9 to 10 kilometers of range, which is not bad. They advertise 11, so I'm just under it. Given that I'm pushing everything to the max, it makes sense. So if I change the mode to Pro, it's a slightly less powerful, slightly less top speed and everything. So in this case, I can squeeze in an extra kilometer or two out of that. So that's like a 10 to 11, almost 12 kilometers of range. Below that, I haven't really tried because seriously, I want to go fast. I want to go to my destination ASAP. This is my main commute board, so I want to go to work as fast as I can and back. Skip all the bus lanes and everything, the metro, so all these things are skipped. That's why I haven't really tried the eco mode and such. Like I've rode them and I know that they work and they're interesting if you want to learn to get your groove on. In my case, I've also tried all the modes because I just wanted to make sure that I was used to the board. When I got this board out of the box, the trucks were not tightened enough, so I had lots of speed wobbles, and that was like at 17 kilometers per hour. It was already like shaking like hell, so I had to really tighten them up a couple times, go back on the board, ride a bit more, tighten more. So it was really like just a little game of getting the perfect fit. But once I was really properly tightened for my weight and size, it was great, all of the modes. Speaking of the different modes, what about the comfort? So this board has 85mm Caguamas wheels, so they are pretty smooth and pretty thick. You have a pretty good shock absorption. Given that I'm running in Montreal, there's cracks everywhere, so I really like this type of comfort. The Razor pads are great, they do the work. They're not incredible in terms of shock absorption, but the wheels are really what makes the big difference on this board. If I compare this to the X-Way, it's slightly more comfortable. It's a slightly more cushiony kind of feeling, and it's a lot better than the Mini X, for example, which was really stiff and hard. In this case, the board itself is as stiff as the one on the Mini X, but because of the bigger wheel and the smoother polyurethane, it's much better. Moving on to the remote, this little remote, at first I was kind of apprehensive with the size of it and the shape of it. In the end, it's really great. It really fits well in your hand. The little groove you have here are pretty great. The button, I rarely use them except for turning it off and on again. The throttle here actually works pretty well. The only weird thing is when you reach like almost your top speed, you still have a little like maybe 2mm to go, and like you're going as fast as you can, and then you try to push a bit more, it doesn't do nothing. So it's kind of a weird calibration there. Probably it's because of the lower modes where you have maybe less of an acceleration, or if I would use a custom mode and slow the acceleration down a bit, maybe that would be useful. You'll see on the videos I'm going to put in this review that the screen refresh rate is weird. I really have to put like super fast refresh rate in order to be able to show you the screen, basically. The range is great. I can put the remote in my pockets while I'm riding in the morning when it's super cold, so that's pretty useful. Some boards like the wind boards I tried a while back and the Cool Wheel, if I were to put my remote in my side pockets, because of my body close to the remote, it would cut the signal. In this case, no problem, so that was fine. I had no problems with the remote per se. The only thing that can give me a problem is that sometimes you do have a little jerk motion because the remote is super responsive. If that is the case with you, if you don't like that little jerkiness, you can always change it to a smoother setting in the app itself. The other mode you can change is the Ninja mode, which allows you to close all the lights from under the battery, so you ride in a complete darkness. Not really a fan of that. I prefer to have the lights on, so at least I'm seen when I'm riding around. I don't ride often in the dark, but especially at this time of the year with the fall season, I like to have people see me around when I come. Charging takes about 2.5 hours for the dual battery I have. It's a bit longer than what I'm used to. Usually I have a timer on my wall, so I don't like to leave my board plugged in and charged all the time. It was mostly a precaution for the cheap Chinese board, which you never know if the parts are bad and they could like overheat or whatever. I usually put the 2-hour limit, and in this case it's not enough. I usually have maybe a 75 to 80% of the battery done, so I need that extra half an hour. So what I usually do is I put it to 4 hours. So that's how I roll usually every night. Cool thing is when you're charging the board, you actually see on the battery themselves a LED that shows you the color from red, which is empty, all the way to very flashy green, which is 100%. You can see the light change over time when your battery is charging. So that's a cool way to really quickly see if your battery is empty or not. Do I prefer this to the boosted board LEDs? I would say no. It's nicer looking, that's for sure, but I prefer the little LEDs that tells me 20% each of them. That's easier to guess. In this case, I know it's either great, okay, or getting bad. So that's my only reference I have really. So for me, it's not the best. So this board has a great advantage over other boards is the maintenance. All the parts are known parts, so you can quickly change them if you want. You can swap your bearings if you want something else. These are loaded bearings, but if you prefer, let's say, a ceramic pair you already have, you can always swap them. If you want to change the trucks, if you want to change the board, basically, and try a shorter board or a long board, you can always do that. So this is a great thing. I would say maybe try to think ahead and just buy the kit without the board if you have a specific board in mind, just because it's going to be more expensive like that. If you already have some of the parts, also you can save some money there. So that's always a good thing to really plan your purchase ahead. The only thing you might not be able to swap would be the trucks, because the way that the motors are made, they are made to fit on the trucks specifically. So overall, did I have any problems? I would say no problems really. The only thing I have, which happened to me early on when I got the board when I first rode it, is the way that the motors are attached to the trucks is, since it's not a custom truck, it's a real Paris trucks, they are fairly circular. So when you insert the motor on the truck and then you tighten it with the bolt, the contact of the motor with the truck is there. There's no kink for it, there's no groove, there's no embedding pieces. So what happened to me at one time is I realized that the motor slipped a bit like that and put some pressure or some tension on the wire, and it ripped a bit of the plastic around the exterior shell of the wire. Not super bad. I would say maybe once in a while look at your trucks and make sure that the motors are well tightened to it so you don't have any surprises. Overall, this board has amazing value. It is more expensive than most of the other boards on the market, but you're kind of back with the original boosted B1 where you had a loaded board, you had quality trucks and everything. So it was like a motor strapped onto a real longboard skateboard with amazing parts. This is exactly what it is. The motor itself and the batteries are great. They have great range, great speed, amazing speed even. I would swap this for from a belt motors at any time. Not all belt-driven skateboards are the best. Of course, DIY and special kits like that have an even better set of parts, and you can get even better torque and range and everything. Thinking about the Metro boards right now, which are basically like tanks on wheels. It's not the same price range either, especially if you have parts already, or if you have some components, you could save many hundreds of dollars by reusing them. This is more aimed towards existing skateboarders who want to get into the electric skateboarding community, and it's perfect for that. You have all the parts already at hand, you just strap them on. There's a guide also how to install it. It's super easy. Yeah, I can't say enough good about this board. Like it looks great, it rides great, it feels great, it's super quick, it has a great range. My personal test is to go to work and back on the same battery charged, and I can do that. I can go to work and back, and I still have like 30% battery life if I ride in pro mode. So it's amazing. So what would I change on this board to get an even better experience? Seriously, not much. I asked for the Tesseract board because I thought it was going to be ideal for me. It's a bit longer than I would prefer. Personally, I know they make a smaller Tesseract, or either the Poke, which is a smaller board. That would be even better for me. So what I do is I take my skateboard to the bus terminal, and then from there I go cross the bridge in the bus. So after I have crossed the bridge, I do another 3 kilometers of skateboard. So that's my commute. So I need something short so I can fit, let's say, between my legs, or so. Yeah, so for me a smaller board would have been probably better. Apart from that, I'm not a super big fan of the W shape boards. Not the ideal for me. I really like the boosted, like just concave, like U shape instead of W shape. That's my preference, but like I said, you just buy the kit and you get the board you prefer. It could be another brand also, not a problem. As long as the screws fit, you're good to go. Yeah, so check the link down below for the link to the Unlimited and Loaded partnership website for the Race Complete kit I'm testing. If you like the video, just give me a little thumbs up. If you really like it, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm going to answer them, of course, in the comments. I'm also going to share that link to Reddit, so if you want to go over there and ask more questions, feel free. That's it. Have a nice day. Have a nice week. Peace.